Jay Beagle and his conditioning or look like?
Yeah, he's known for being a guy that's great shape, and he definitely is.
Were you impressed with what you saw?
I was. I thought the guys in general came back in better shape than they were last year, which is good to see. For a day one, it's more of a conditioning day today, and some system stuff, some video. But in general, I thought we had some guys that were in really good shape. But overall, I thought the group looked pretty good.
Travis, Leipzig showed you a lot last year when he joined you. He scored some goals, he took some bad penalties, had some defensive liabilities, but there's something in his game that's intriguing. What are you looking to see from him for the preseason?
Well, I thought he looked in really good shape today, for starters, which is always the first step, especially when you're an offensive guy that needs to get places quicker and quick. But he's a quick player. He's a smart player. He knows he has to provide some kind of offense, and he's still got to find a way to be responsible in his own zone. But I'd like to see him come back a little bit better than he was last year, and he's going to get a chance, and hopefully he can produce and take that chance and do something with it.
How much can sort of be gleaned for training camp's so short now, just 4 days? But are you a true believer that you put the building blocks in place from day one?
You do. A lot of it's going over video during camp and showing your system play, which you're constantly working on throughout training camp. But we're going to scrimmage every day from here on in as well, and I like seeing players what they can do in the game. You want to see a competitive group in practice, but you also want to see how they play in game situations when it's not, you got to read and react a little bit. So it is short, but, we've still got 7 games after training camp to make decisions as well.
With Elias, you talked yesterday about looking for him at center to provide good battle level in the D zone and be responsible in that regard. When you have some of those battle drills, can you glean much from what you saw from him there today?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it's not necessarily battling. It's being able to play the position down low like every other centerman does in the league. But even today I saw him, one time he went into a man-on-man situation and we talked quickly, and the next time he went, he did it perfect. So that's the mark of a guy that understands the game and has hockey sense, and I'm not going to expect him to go in there and out-battle a guy, but he's going to be able to outsmart a guy and read and react and know when he has to steal a puck and know when he has to play off a guy a little bit. But that's just a learning process that every young centerman goes through in this league.
Yesterday you guys said he was fully healthy coming to camp.
Yeah.
I know that Roussel took a skate this morning, but what is his situation?
Yeah, I knew he was banged up, and I had when we did the press conference yesterday, he was actually seeing the doctor, and I had anticipated that he was going to get cleared yesterday. But he wasn't, unfortunately. He got a knock in the head 2 or 3 weeks ago in Montreal when he was skating, and I expected him to skate today, but he wasn't quite there, so it's more day to day.
How concerned are you?
Not very.
Even with a concussion?
Well, I mean, you're always concerned, but I expect him to be back.
Here at camp, do you think he'll skate in Whistler? Or?
I do, yeah, I think he will. I mean, he skated this morning on his own.
So he could take part in the scrimmages?
Not yet, but I hope so. But it is day to day. Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Baseline testing and things like that. Sure. Okay.
Were you part of the sales pitch to Jay Beagle? Did you?
I met with Jay. Yeah, when he.
What did you tell him? How did you get him to come here? I mean, I know he's coming for a lot of money, but other teams could have given him money too. So
told him I'd cook dinner for him every second night. And we just told him what we're all about. I had a good long meeting with him. We had a group meeting with him and talked about, where we're going, how we want to get there, situations I could envision him playing in, and just open, honest communication.
I know we try to kind of quantify everything these days when we look at players. Obviously, he's bringing things that are harder to quantify, but just generally with the Sedin's gone, how important was it to you to bring leadership in, so there's not just a void?
Well, I think it was part of our free agent signing this year was bringing some guys that had some leadership between him and Roussel, and right from the get-go here, you can see Beagle's a real committed player, and is in phenomenal shape for an older guy, skates well. You know, he's going to do a lot of different things that help your team win that don't necessarily always show up in the score sheet, and Roussel's a real hard player to play against. So both those guys are going to provide different elements. You know, there's a lot of talk of whether to sign top-end free agents that are going to score goals, and you know, you can't do everything all the time, and I really like the signings that we made.
Beagle and Sutter, there look like there's some similarities
For sure.
in the things they do.
Yeah.
Some might say redundancies, but from a coaching standpoint, is that just options then?
Yeah, I mean, you can't have enough guys that can play center and be responsible, and it's going to help our penalty killing for sure, adding those guys with Schaller as well. And, you know, we do have a bit of a void in the middle. We'll see where Elias ends up. We'll see where Gaudette ends up. But we know we've got some guys that can play the wing and play center. But the one thing about good centermen is that you can usually play the wing as well. And you know, we've got some options as where some guys can play. Even Granny can play center. Gagne can play center. So it'll all take its. We'll figure it out as we go.